I got stood up on a date. Then a stranger sat down and said, "I'll be your date." The restaurant was supposed to be the beginning of something new. Instead, it became the place where I learned that sometimes the person who changes your life is the one you never expected to meet. I checked my phone for the 5th time. 7:42 p.m. My date was supposed to arrive at 7. I stared at the empty chair across from me and tried to convince myself not to care. Maybe she was stuck in traffic. Maybe something happened. Maybe she was simply running late. But when I opened our messages again, the last thing she had sent me was still there. "Can't wait to finally meet you tonight." I had spent an embarrassing amount of time getting ready. I changed my shirt 3 times. I fixed my hair twice. I even arrived 20 minutes early because I didn't want to be the guy who kept a woman waiting. Now I was sitting alone under warm restaurant lights, surrounded by couples laughing over dinner. And every minute that passed made me feel more foolish. At 8:05, the waiter came over. "Everything okay, sir?" I forced a smile. "Yeah. Just waiting for someone." He nodded politely. "Of course." But I could tell he knew. She wasn't coming. At 8:17, I finally put my phone face down. I was about to ask for the check when a woman suddenly stopped beside my table. She was wearing a simple black dress, carrying a small purse, and had the kind of confident smile that made you feel like she'd known you for years. She glanced at the empty chair. Then she looked at me. "Are you waiting for someone?" I laughed awkwardly. "Apparently." She raised an eyebrow. "Apparently?" "My date." She looked at the empty chair again. "And she's late?" "Very." The woman pulled out the chair. Then she sat down. I stared at her. She smiled. "I'll be your date." For a second, I honestly thought she was joking. "Excuse me?" "You heard me." She placed her purse beside her and looked toward the waiter. "Can we get 2 menus?" I couldn't stop staring. "Do I know you?" "No." "Then why are you sitting at my table?" She leaned forward slightly. "Because you look like a man who needs a better evening." I laughed for the first time that night. That's one way to put it. She smiled. "I'm Emma." "Daniel." "Nice to meet you, Daniel." "Nice to meet you too." The waiter returned with 2 menus. Emma opened hers like this was completely normal. "So," she said, "tell me about yourself." I smiled. "Is this really happening?" "Unless you want to spend the rest of the evening staring at that empty chair." I looked at the chair. Then back at her. "No. I think I'd rather talk to you." She smiled. "Good answer." What started as a strange joke became the most comfortable conversation I'd had in months. Emma wasn't trying to impress me. She didn't ask about my job or how much money I made. She asked what I loved doing when nobody was watching. She asked what I'd wanted to become when I was a kid. She asked why I looked disappointed when she first sat down. And somehow, I told her the truth. I think I was embarrassed. Why? Because I thought being stood up meant there was something wrong with me. Emma became quiet. Then she said something I'll never forget. "Someone else's decision doesn't determine your value." I looked at her. She wasn't smiling anymore. She meant it. We continued talking until nearly 10. Then something strange happened. My original date finally messaged me. "Sorry. I forgot about tonight. Hope you're not mad." I stared at the screen. Emma noticed. "Bad news?" I showed her the message. She read it. Then she looked at me. "What are you going to say?" I thought for a moment. "Nothing." I deleted the conversation. Emma smiled. "Good." When the bill arrived, I reached for it. Emma stopped me. We're splitting it. You're the one who rescued me. She shook her head. I didn't rescue you. No. No. You let me sit down. That sentence stayed with me. Because she was right. I had spent the entire evening thinking she had saved me from being alone. But maybe she had simply reminded me that being alone wasn't something I needed to fear. We exchanged numbers outside the restaurant. Maybe we'll do this again, I said. Emma smiled. Maybe? I laughed. Definitely. She took a few steps away, then turned around. Daniel? Yeah? Next time, don't make me pretend to be your date. I froze. She smiled. Just ask me out. Then she walked away. I stood there with the biggest smile on my face. 3 days later, I called her. Dinner? She answered immediately. Finally. Our second date wasn't at an expensive restaurant. It was at a tiny cafe where the chairs didn't match and the coffee wasn't anything special. But I didn't care. Because Emma was there. We talked for hours. Then days became weeks. Weeks became months. And somewhere between late-night conversations, bad jokes, long drives, and ordinary Sunday mornings, I realized something. The woman who sat down at my table because she saw a lonely stranger had become the person I couldn't imagine my life without. 6 months after that first night, we returned to the same restaurant. I reserved the exact same table. Emma looked around. You planned this. Maybe. She smiled. Our waiter recognized us. He brought 2 glasses of water and said, I'm glad to see the empty chair didn't stay empty. Emma laughed. I reached into my pocket. Her smile disappeared. Daniel. I took out a small ring box. I came here once thinking I had been rejected. She looked at me with tears forming in her eyes. And then you walked over and said, I'll be your date. I opened the box. You didn't just become my date, Emma. I took her hand. You became my best friend. My home. My future. She covered her mouth. So I'm asking you something. I got down on one knee. Will you sit beside me for the rest of our lives? Emma was crying now. But she was smiling. Yes. The entire restaurant seemed to disappear. There was only her. The woman who had sat down beside a stranger because she couldn't stand watching someone feel unwanted. The woman who had no idea that one simple decision would change both our lives. And as she slipped the ring onto her finger, I realized something. Getting stood up had felt like the worst thing that could happen to me. But it wasn't. It was the moment that made room for the person I was actually meant to meet. Sometimes life doesn't give you what you planned for. Sometimes it gives you something better. You just have to be brave enough to notice when it arrives.